sake, it's so awesome to meet you and everybody else on this platform. The I Am Possible is built around humanity, developing humanity into the next level of consciousness. And it is breaking generational thinking patterns that's leading to self-sabotage, limited potential, and basically shift people out of their lack, their poverty, the belief that they cannot do it and cannot achieve, and allow them to see that they are limited potential. To get back to my speech today, I'm always first for humans, and I always see the lack where there is humanity. In systems, I was a director for 20 years, so make no mistake, I come from the formal business background, understanding business and finance fully. But to me, business, governments, whatever we do cannot exist without humans. But I feel that the humans are always left for last, and the systems are always designed first. So today I want to touch your heart with my speech. I'm going to touch shortly on each question that's given to us and just give you my overview. And hopefully that will give you something to think about and to ponder on, because I do believe there's hope. I do believe we can turn things around, but I do not believe we can do it in the same manner that we created the chaos that we experience at the moment, not only in South Africa, worldwide. So today I want to talk to you about reclaiming humanity in the language of finance. Before there were numbers, there were people. Before policies, there were stories. And before profit, there was purpose, a sacred call to serve humanity. Today, as we gather under the banner of the G20, I invite all of you to remember that the true economy is not measured by GDP or market growth. It's measured by how much compassion circulates through our global systems to create prosperity for all. So point one is a fair framework for debt. How can we ensure a good global debt restructuring framework? By returning finance to its moral foundation, justice rooted in compassion, and not just finance for some, and the rest go hungry and still struggle and have lack. Debt is not only a fiscal issue, it's a human one. When a nation is drowning in debt, its hospitals go silent, and its classrooms grow cold, and its people lose hope. And I'm sure we can all see that today in our classrooms and hospitals. The kids and the leaders of tomorrow have given up hope. They are at the moment without values. They are without direction. They suffer from severe mental unwellness. And there's just, I think they've given up on themselves. A fair framework is not born in boardrooms, but in the hearts willing to see that prosperity cannot exist in isolation. The G20 has the power to lead not through dominance, but through partnership, creating what I call human impact assessments before every financial decision to measure not only economic return, but human consequence. When we choose fairness over force, we begin to heal the collective system. Point two is the imbalance of priorities. Why do African nations still spend more on debt than on health or education? Because the system was not designed for equity, it was designed for extraction. For too long, Africa's value has been measured in minerals, not in mines, in exports, and not in education, as we can clearly see with our pass rate in South Africa. The imbalance persists because global finance has not yet undergone its own spiritual awakening. But the truth is clear: when a continent spends more to repay than to renew, it reveals not only financial failure, but moral fatigue in the world's conscious. It is time to redefine wealth, to see every healed child, every educated woman, every thriving village as a dividend of divine investment. Point 3, innovation that heals. And what about innovation? Innovation must not only be technology, it must be ethical and spiritual, which we clearly lack. We are overloaded with technology. We've got no ethical and spiritual values that we operate on. We speak of closing Africa's climate and development gap. I say, let's build regenerative finance systems that heal the land, uplift communities, and ensure that profit and purpose walk hand in hand. Let us empower African-led climate funds rooted in local wisdom and transparency. Let us invest not just in infrastructure, but in the invisible architecture of dignity, trust, cooperation, and inclusion. Then lastly, the call of Ubuntu economics. Can Ubuntu economics offer a new model for equitable global finance? Absolutely yes. Ubuntu says, I am because we are. It teaches that my well-being is intertwined with yours, that humanity itself is a shared economy. Ubuntu economics in the rebirth of moral finance. It reminds us that wealth must circulate, not concentrate on a small group of people. It moves us from competition to communion, from survival to shared thriving. This is not just an African ideal. It's a universal truth that a world divided by greed can only be healed by God's grace. Our closing is the following. If the G20 can learn to listen, not only to economists, but to cries of mothers, farmers, and children, then we will evolve from a system of survival to one of sacred stewardship. True progress is not when nations rise alone, but when humanity rises together as one. May we remember, before the numbers, there were people, and our greatest investment will always be love in action. Let us no longer negotiate over survival, but collaborate for renewal. Let us invest not only in infrastructure, but in the infrastructure of the soul, education that uplifts skills and empower, and knowledge that frees generations from dependency. For no nation can rise higher than the minds it chooses to develop. And the minds that they develop is equal to the minds who's creating the space. Always remember that. So a company, a country cannot go higher and broader in consciousness, education, and prosperity than the leader at the time. So Africa does not need saving. It needs to be seen. Her children are not poor, they are powerful beyond measure, waiting for systems that honor their brilliance, not systems that's brilliant and leaving them behind. So may we, as global stewards, choose humanity over hierarchy, healing over hoarding, and wisdom over wealth. For the world we build will not be measured in numbers, but in the peace, the potential, and the promise that we are leaving behind. Thank you all.